Niall Horan, I've made an effort to maintain a modicum of modesty. Irishness is beneficial. Niall Horan recently witnessed a flash of his life in front of him. I drove past the convention center today as I entered the city through the tunnel. I feel chills every time I drive past it. I remember that from yesterday. Yet, it was 13 years ago. The day the X Factor held auditions at the convention center, that enormous glass carbuncle on Dublin's Docklands, June 28, 2010, is still fresh in the mind of the former One Direction singer and Mullinger's biggest superstar since Joe Dolan. It was a sliding doors moment, he claims. I was very inexperienced and young. He entered the X Factor as a gregarious 16-year-old from the Midlands wearing a plaid shirt and seeming nervous. He left it with a future superstar in tow. He pushes out his cheeks, knowing that things could have gone in a different direction. Horan had performed So Sick by Ne-Yo in front of the judges. His magnetism was clear while being raw. Simon Cowell and Louis Walsh gave him the thumbs up. He wasn't ready, according to Cheryl Cole, who suggested he try again the following year. Katy Perry, a special guest adjudicator, had the casting vote. If she rejected it, he was eliminated. Perry agreed, stating that he was too young. "You are charismatic, perhaps you ought to improve." She nonetheless waved him through out of kindness. The rest is history in the making. Later in the series, Cowell and Walsh grouped Horan with 4 other youthful stragglers and gave them the name One Direction. They became the biggest band in the world in less than a heartbeat. The odds are crazy. Paddy Power refused to offer odds on Horan's success. When I recently appeared on The Late Late Show, Orlando Bloom, Perry's partner, and I spoke. I recall telling him, "It's nuts," recalls Horan. "I spot Katy Perry in Los Angeles. She is quite conscious every time I see her. She is aware of all that she did for me. It always has a lovely embrace to it. It's awesome that she is putting her trust in me despite being the biggest pop singer in the world at the time." Horan, 29, has traveled home to support the release of his new album, The Show. The album is a positive collection of indie ballads with a dreamy feel. It's upbeat and reflective of where he is in his relationship with Amelia Woolley, a Birmingham-based fashion buyer who has been his partner for 3 years. "I'm doing fine, everything. The biggest change since writing the record is that there isn't any heartache. None of these songs will be very depressing," he promises. The phrase "not sad" is an understatement. He is positively euphoric as he serenades Woolley, singing with an expressive voice reminiscent of Kevin Parker of Tame Impala or a fizzier Ben Gibbard of Death Cab for Cutie. Horan sings the line, "Oh, I'll follow you till there's no tomorrow. Darling, I would give up everything," and the Torch song "You Could Start a Cult," which was inspired by his and Woolley's favorite activity, binge-watching true crime, which frequently centers on charismatic people founding cults. The song's message is that Horan would follow Woolley just as the characters on screen follow their charming leader. Clearly, home life is wonderful. "I'm not inconsolable. So, do I still pen summer ballads? Do I write about what's happening right now? That is what set this record apart from others. It enabled me to diversify. It wasn't have to be about the same subject. Other things occur in your life and in your mind. Everyday feelings experienced by others. I so attempted to write extensively about the subject." With his baseball cap pulled low, Horan sits in the corner of the Fitzwilliam Hotel's upper bar and emanates intensity that can only be characterized as GAA captain-like. It has the same vibe you might anticipate coming from someone like Paul Mescal. The mood reminds you of that guy from high school who was always selected first for the hurling team and who you wanted to hate but who ended up being quite likable. He possesses a trait that, most likely, only Irish people can truly appreciate. He is sound in their language.